going to start a minute early. I'd like to call the Topsham Planning Board to order. Could you please take the roll?
Don Span,
Present.
Larry Brand,
Present.
Scott Libby,
Present.
Andrew Munzie,
Present.
and I understand that Carrie Bickford, Ronald Bisson, and Tim Denham have been excused.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so Scott and I will be recusing ourselves, but abstaining on the vote, but let's go ahead and do the minutes. Larry, do you?
Yep, I move that we adopt the minutes of November 9, 2023 as submitted in the, what's labeled second draft.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Second? I guess you could still have discussion, but anyway, any discussion?
No, I think we're
All
fine.
right, seeing none, all in favor? All right, and two abstains. All right, thank you. So you can have. the-
Yep.
Okay, final amended site plan. Demoulas Supermarkets, Inc. has submitted a proposal to alter the language of one of the conditions of approval for their current site plan to allow building occupancy prior to the completion of all off-site improvement work. So is someone presenting anything on that?
And Andrew, you might want to make sure you speak up, because I don't know if he's gonna be able to hear you.
Andrew, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, our microphones were echoing and everything else, so if you can't hear me, let me know. So would you please go ahead and introduce yourself to the secretary?
So my name is Andrew Kerman. I'm the project engineer with Goral Palmer, representing the applicant Demoulas Supermarkets on the market basket development. So this site plan was originally approved back in October of 2022. We came in for the first amendment July 2023, and we're requesting another amendment, essentially just to allow Market Basket to open prior to the construction of the I-295 southbound off-ramp, which was a part of the Maine DOT traffic movement permit. So we're not proposing any changes to the plans as part of this amendment. We're really just hoping to revise the wording of condition of approval number 4. So I'm happy to answer any questions you have on this.
Do you have-
Well, first, before we discuss it, I make a
Yeah,
motion.
yeah, but I was gonna ask about that. Do we need to do that even though we're just addressing
It's
one
here, but-
condition?
Um,
If you think we do, we can do it, right? It just,
Better safe than sorry.
all right, go ahead.
I move that we concur with staff's conclusion that site plan amendment application materials have been submitted and the application is complete such that the board may proceed with subsequent review of the application, identification of any further information required from the applicant. Second.
All right, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All right, good. So that's right here.
And that-
I hope
oh,
right here for you.
But I don't have that.
Right.
You're gonna give it to.
You have it right now.
All right. Double duty.
Okay, so I think the discussion, and it's on this section, about, it's condition number 4.
Yeah.
So any discussion on that?
I did have one question. That was with I know it says number 4 in the package, but then when we go to the lists that are the conditions, the standard conditions on page 6 and 7, it's listed as number 8. So I just wanted to know, I didn't have a chance to go back to the original, so I wanted to make sure what's been added or what's been moved or.
that's due to me, not Andrew. It's because when we do a site plan amendment, we've just been putting the original, like the kind of standard conditions, and then a condition that says like all previous conditions, still apply. And in this instance, I did that, but then had to rewrite it. And if you guys want to workshop those, but I tried to write it in such a way that this will stand on its own, but it's saying that the original site plan has been amended and that one is no longer in effect. Everything else besides that one is, but here's some new conditions that address a lot
And
of
so
the
8,
issues.
9, and 10 are the
Yeah.
ones that address what we're
Yes.
discussing.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. And the only other thing I would say is, I think, the memo that Goral Palmer submitted really, comes to the point. The main thing here is that Most of the time, these conditions of site work and things are related to the safety on site and the construction of roads and things near the building itself. In this case, the southbound exit on 295 is well removed from the project, and the fact that, you know, they can have occupancy before that's done, you know, it's, there's no reason to delay occupancy because of this. There's no safety issue associated with it. So
Yes, I agree.
Oh, I have a question. I was not involved in that whole process, so I was just curious as background for my information, what was the reason for needing to do work over there at that off-ramp? Like what?
That was part of their MDOT permit. I mean, you can answer that if you like, but basically, when MDOT authorized them and gave them the permit, that was one of the requirements that they put. So this was,
So what's wrong with the ramp that they have to work on? I don't get it. Maybe that's beyond this.
you'll have to ask MDOT that question, but would you like to say anything or?
It's a bad ramp.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much sums it up. Yeah, the DOT has been wanting to make some changes to that ramp to make it safer for everybody. So that was kind of what.
Right, and we saw that with Aroma Joe's as well. When that was approved and getting the MDOT permit, there was a number of things that weren't specific to the Aroma Joe's location that they still were required to take care of, right? So it's fairly standard practice.
I see, okay.
This isn't gonna mess up your MDOT approval or anything, though, is it?
Nope, we've been coordinating with them and they didn't have any issues with this change. So
And I didn't see any staff issues with it either. Okay, all right, any other discussion? All right, so, you wanna make a motion?
yeah, I move that the site plan amendment review application for the Market Basket site plan amendment, tax map R05, lot 21D10 meets the applicable standards in the site plan review ordinance, chapter 175, the zoning ordinance, chapter 225, and is approved with staff recommended conditions and the findings identified in the staff memo dated December 14, 2023. And just to clarify, if anyone's listening, the main change is, we're saying no occupant, number 8 now, no occupancy of new construction shall be requested until all infrastructure serving the new construction has been completed according with approved plans. This excludes I-295 southbound off-ramp off-site mitigation work required by MDOT traffic movement permit, which must be completed within 6 months of life. That's it.
I will second that motion.
All right, any discussion?
Who seconded it, Mr. Brand?
Mr. Brand did.
All right,
The only amendment I would propose to the motion is that there are findings that are now incorporated into that motion. And it keeps saying, most of them say, the board finds the requirements of this section not applicable. And I would just want to add to each of those that say not applicable, are not applicable to this request. What's before the board. I just don't want to say that we are wiping out all our prior findings.
I think it also says a lot of them were met. So,
Since this amendment didn't have to do with those
Right.
concerns, I said not applicable since they didn't submit anything for it, and other amendments, I've done that, since it's just to do with what's submitted, but if you guys want to make that change, I can understand that, that's just why I made that choice to write it that way.
I have no problem with changing it.
okay,
Well,
so if you wanna amend it.
amended as.
Do a second to
amended.
the amendment,
Yes.
right?
I do, yes.
And do you want to take a vote on that and then vote on the amended anyway?
Yes.
How do you want to deal with that?
We should vote on the amendment and then vote on the
Okay,
original.
all right, does everybody understand the amendment? And do you understand what they did?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. All right, so we have a motion or amendment. Is there a second to that amendment?
I'll second.
All right. Discussion on that? All right, seeing none, all in favor? Okay, so then all in favor now of the amended
Motion.
motion? All right. Good. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks, good luck.
Thank you.
We lost you? I should have asked, when are you gonna open up?
Target date is May of next year.
Okay, good, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Item E, performance guarantee, Topsham Housing Associates is seeking review of their proposed performance guarantee for street improvements associated with the Fairground or Fairview Commons subdivision located at 25 Acmatack Road, tax map U023, lot 75. And John, are you talking to that?
If you want, before, you probably don't need to get it there, because that's not working. If you want to do it from the.
No, it doesn't matter, so see, at home, and I'll speak loudly. John Hodge, Executive Director of the Brunswick and Topsham Housing Authorities. We're here this evening because one of the requirements of our permit was that we have a performance guarantee for the road that is being constructed to town specifications and then will be turned over to the town. And the current ordinance allows for two methods of performance guarantee, one being a letter of credit, which I have to go to the bank. It's basically a loan that costs money, or an escrow, cash escrow, which I don't really want to tap my cash for that long. Interestingly enough, in the past, Topsham allowed a bond, and that's how most of these projects are guaranteed, is through a performance and payment bond. The construction manager on the job, Elect Construction, has a $13 million bond in place. They are prepared to name the town as an obligee of that bond, so that would cover the road expenses, which are $529,000 plus. So because that's not currently in the ordinance, we're here this evening to ask the planning board to approve the use of a performance bond as a guarantee for the project. One other request I have this evening is we were informed by Tom Saucier, and he says it's fully up to the town, that the bond should be in the amount of 110% of the cost of the road. Our contractor and their insurance say they do not want to insure something at 110%. They want to insure it at the value. We have a contingency in the budget of $683,000 to cover it overage. So in essence, that overage is already covered by the existing bond. The contract is for 12.3 million, and the bond is for 13 million. So we're here this evening to ask for you to allow the bond, and I am asking it to be at 100%.
And that's what's in the write-up? That's 100%? All right.
And one other comment, I don't expect any action on it this evening. And I don't mean to put any more work on Julie, because I know she's going to be really busy with the CPA. Is to maybe have a conversation as to why you even require the performance guarantee. As a developer who's building a road that I hope to turn over to the town, we are fully incentivized as it is to build a road to your satisfaction, that you would accept the road. Because what would happen if you did not accept the road? It would remain private. We'd have to own it and be responsible for maintaining it, plowing it, and doing all of that. So we have no incentive to not build it to your specification. I'm not sure if every community requires that. They certainly require it here in Topsham, but I do question the wisdom of forcing a developer who's already spending millions of dollars to, build properties to have another added expense, because bonding is an expense, letters of credits is an expense. When again, it's really up to the developer who wants to build that road to your specification and get that turned over. And the worst case is they own it. You guys don't have any responsibility for it. So there's no loss to the town. So, but that's a separate discussion. Tonight, I'm here to focus on the performance guarantee.
It is, and we can't speak for the town, but I do know that we have been through a couple discussions where roads weren't completed the way they were supposed to be, and it did come to this board, right? So but
Understood.
talk to Julie and,
Yeah.
and
And I'll talk to
And you
Derek as
can
well,
get the-
and the lawyers.
you can get
I've had
into
enough
the
discussion. with
legal
lawyers.
discussion on that, and I'll just leave it at that, right?
Thank you.
So, but we have seen it.
Yeah.
Before.
I'm sure that happens, absolutely.
Right.
And I think part of that ends up being that, like, the homeowners association in those subdivisions end up having to take care of the road, the substandard, the developers have left.
Understood,
Right.
yeah,
That's where it gets really,
yeah, and then they don't plan for that
And they
expense.
pay taxes to the town, they then come to the town and say, what are you gonna do about it, right?
Yeah.
So I get it, but I think
Yeah.
there was a method to the madness for having. that,
Understood.
right?
Not to mention emergency services on those
Right.
substandard roads.
Right.
Now with houses.
Yeah, so,
We will be talking about performance guarantees later in the subdivision workshop, but I just wanted to know, when I had the town attorney review the bonds language, that was when he said, oh, by the way, bonds aren't listed in here as a method, an approved method,
hmm,
of performance guarantee. So it can be approved by the planning board as an acceptable method, but it's not in there.
yeah, interesting.
So that's.
That
that's
probably
why
should
it's
be in
important.
there, because we've done that a number of times.
And it used to be in there and it was taken out years ago, I guess.
Interesting. Okay, we have one motion for this one, right? But anyway, do we have any other questions for John?
Nope, big rolls up.
Okay,
yeah, no, it looked good, and the letter from the attorney in the town supported it, so
right,
no discussion. I move that the proposed performance bond for public improvements associated with Fairview Commons tax map U 23 lot 75 meets the applicable standards in the subdivision ordinance, chapter 191, is approved as an acceptable form of performance guarantee by the planning board.
we have a second,
Second,
we have discussion. Seeing none, all in favor? All right, it's unanimous. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Here's that motion.
Thank you.
Julie,
That's the letter that goes with it.
oh, Julie, I presume you're duly authorized to sign that and find the town?
The town attorney didn't say that. Sure.
Yeah, I'll be in touch with you to formalize all that, thank you.
Sounds
All right, thanks. I'm gonna, on the next two items, recuse myself.
All right. So the next item up is sketch plan for Topsham Dental Arts. Submitted a sketch plan to expand their parking area at 37 Forsyth Road, tax map U08, lot 18.
Hi there, my name is Chris Belanger, here representing Topsham Dental Arts. Since the last meeting, we've gone back to the drawing board and created a concept plan, hopefully that'll work better for the board. I'm gonna try to share my screen. Before, we had come to you with a plan that had two entrances and it wasn't looked at favorably by the board. So we kind of went back to the drawing board and tried to come up with a plan that we hopefully will work better for you. Some project facts, that 37 Forsyth Road, tax map 8 lot 18, site's about 0.76 acres. It's an existing dental office that's been there for many years, two-story building, 44 by 60. I was corrected last time. The owners intend to keep that dental office at the location. They don't intend to sell. And I believe I had said last time that they were thinking they might want to sell that and go into a different site. They still want to go to a different site, but they want to maintain both. Site plan was approved in October of 2007. We had 16 spaces approved. There was some future spaces planned at the time. In 2015, we approved a second site plan, which added 16 additional spaces. So the approved plan had 32 spaces plus or minus. The new layout that I'll show you adds 3 spaces from that approved plan. Does require a conditional use permit, just as it did before. We'll have 20 to 25 employees, I was told. 5 dentists, 8 hygienists, and 11 treatment in the existing facility. We are gonna eliminate the second entrance. Tax map and aerial view of the site, was in your package. If you have questions, I'm happy to go back. This is the existing conditions plan that's on site right now. The existing building, the gray shaded area is the paved parking, and the stone stipe patching is parking gravel that was installed after 2007. Pictures, this is the site distance at the entrance, plenty of site distance in each direction. This is looking at, standing in the street, looking at the front of the building. You can see the 2 doors, ramp. The sign and a side view of the existing building that's there. Parking lot, gravel, etc. This is the side and the back of the building. This plan is the actual 2015 approved plan. Just wanted to note that we had parking in the back, perpendicular parking, and we extended around the corner. We anticipated installing a shed back then. So what we're trying to do is try to mimic that existing plan to the extent that we can. We did submit a concept plan with some parking along the back and the side to try to match that current approval. We did eliminate the second entrance. And as a result of that last meeting, the abutter had wanted to see some fencing along the back line, and the owner is happy to add that fencing. So we're hoping that this layout will work better for the planning board. We did have a staff review meeting last week, and they had a couple of suggestions. I'll just outline them. Basically, Tom Saucier, the engineer, said that, let me go back. This layout provides with a 20-foot access aisle, 2-way traffic. And we were proposing a 10-foot wide by 18.5-foot space. The standard space was 9 feet wide. So we're asking for a reduction of the access aisle of 4 feet. There is room to add the 4 feet if the board thought that was more appropriate. Right now, I've got the edge of pavement set about 9 feet off the line. It's my understanding that the pavement could be at 5 feet off the line, and that would give us the 24 feet that are required by code. We're hoping to kind of maintain some vegetation along that corridor. So we thought 20 feet with an extra wide space would work. We still think it would work, but we can meet the 24-foot aisle standard if we need to. There was other comments that the board had as a 5-foot space, so the last space could back out a little bit easier. So we added 5 feet of pavement to give ourselves a little walking area and a sidewalk in the back so that people could circulate. And we extended the fence. I think that was most of it. So we're hoping that this plan is closer to the approved plan in 2015, and we're hoping that is more in line with what the board was wanting to approve.
Well, thank you, Chris. Yeah, you went through a few of the comments that the staff had. I think all of them are great, so make sure. I think one of the things that someone mentioned was that they're gonna try and keep those back spaces as employee spaces.
Absolutely,
and
we're okay
sign
with
it
that.
as such.
We'll add a signage. We'll actually update the plan to give you the 24-foot aisle too, so as long as you're okay with that.
Yeah, I leave some input from the town on that, the 20 versus the 24. I think there's something to be said if it is employee only. that a 20-foot lane with keeping the vegetation as it is with the fence is probably better
We think it
in my
works.
mind. I don't know safety wise what the feedback is from the town on that, but,
It is only loading one side, so you
Yeah.
kind of could back across that other end easier with a couple of feet. And the 10 foot wide space gives you a little more of a ability to turn quicker.
Yeah.
So we think it works. In this layout.
you guys have any questions or comments?
It just depends on how big the car is that you're trying to back out of those spaces.
And well, even my truck, which is rather, I got a double cab, I could back fully out of that space. And be able to maneuver. It may take me more than 3 turns, but I can get out.
I would think that's acceptable if it's infrequently used for, employee parking, because they're not gonna be pulling out in and out as frequently as they would be if it was for patients.
Good point, they'll be there most of the day. Yeah,
And also, there's no parking on the other side.
correct.
I mean, you're
think
keeping
that-
the 24-foot drive on the side lot where it already is 24 feet between those.
Right, that's right, that's standard parking on that side,
Right.
yeah.
Chris, I missed it. Tom, Saucier had mentioned maybe putting a stub at the end.
And we added 5 feet of pavement, so I added the stub and then I added a striped walkway that somebody could walk across. They'll have 5 extra feet to maneuver to that last space.
So you're saying that will be shown on the next iteration of this plan?
That'll be shown on the next iteration.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And basically, the red that you see is I'm adding that pavement if we wanted to go by the town reg. Right.
What's the dog leg there? The kind of grayish dog leg at the corner? I call the dog leg, it's what?
I'm not sure what you mean by,
I think it's just,
oh, that's a striped pavement striping.
Oh,
instead of an
okay,
island.
so it's not like a raised,
Correct. I was hoping to keep a stripe for plowing and, but it just still gives them an avenue to get to the walkway.
okay, I just didn't know if it was some sort of raised concrete or something.
No, the town suggested, the town engineer suggested it at staff meeting. I prefer to keep it paint, but I guess that's debatable.
That's not the bowler that he was talking about.
No, we'll have to, we're extending 5 feet to the end of the pavement at that last space to give them just a little bit more maneuver.
I think Larry was referring to Tom's suggestion that there be bollards, to protect the deck.
Protect the deck support.
Bollards is a good idea, I'm happy to move forward with it.
No, I think Larry's, or maybe the town's point about that area, I mean, I'm not sure having this all striped. Are you just talking about having this very end striped, or are you
Yeah, it's
talking about this whole,
I was gonna strike the whole thing.
because it seems like you're gonna have
I was trying to
some conflict with,
line up where the parking space should be too.
Yeah. I think you should think about that. I
As
don't
an
know, I mean,
island?
as far as a safety thing,
As an island? you mean?
yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I don't know about if the whole thing needs to be an island. Or at least out to the end,
You're saying if it's raised,
yeah, some kind of raise to try and have
actually
definition.
the plow guy's gonna have they're not gonna like that too much.
Yeah, it's just a tough spot right
Yeah.
there.
Just maneuvering a plow through there is gonna be difficult.
Plus the pavement is, I don't think we have a curve on that backside.
No.
Snow removal, now we got brought up.
Well, if we could keep it 20 feet, that gives me a couple extra feet for snow on that side, and we can certainly push snow or blow snow toward that side if we had to.
Well, as you look at that, keep safety in mind.
Say that again?
Keep safety in mind on there, as far as whether it needs to be raised or not raised. The plow guys can work around it, they always do, those charge more. Then the other thing was the landscaping, that was brought up about the street trees and additional
Yeah.
trees due to the additional spaces, and
If
that's gonna
you're
work.
okay with this revised plan, I'll send it to the landscape architect. We'll get those added trees on a new plan, as well as update the lighting. We wanted to kind of wait, and see how it
Yeah.
goes.
We just wanted to make sure it was something you guys were good with. All right,
I think it's definitely more livable than the last.
I appreciate that.
no, it certainly is in line with what has been approved in the past, and I think, you know, paving the area that was gravel for a while makes sense. And I think, you know, the other thing that we didn't mention out of these suggestions are that, there would be some condition about not parking on the side lawn.
Yeah, I
Part
think
of
you're
this,
right.
so.
I think the landscaping will kind of prevent that
Yeah.
again, but
Keep it more in line with what the original idea was of that building,
absolutely.
fitting into the residential area.
Did you have any questions for us? on
I do
this?
not.
You
I
know,
do not.
all right, well, we'll look forward to seeing, the proposal coming weeks, month.
Yeah, well, and now is it okay if we submit a preliminary / final application, or you want to go through 2 steps?
No,
Oh.
the next one's.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
I think it's.
Yeah.
Focused enough.
Julie nodded, so.
Okay, thanks.
That's
All
why
right.
I said it was okay, so, you know.
Thanks, Larry.
All right, so the next item up, sketch plan, Topsham Dental Arts submitted a sketch plan to construct a professional dental office in the mixed use limited zone on Village Drive, tax map R04, lot 18A.
All right, this is Top of Dental Arts as well. It's a second site. The developers, Polly and Timothy Nichols, are planning to buy lot C8 off of Village Drive. It's at the intersection of the highway and Village Drive. It's across the street from the Soul site, if you're familiar with that. Lot C8, tax map R4, lot 18A. It's a 1.82 acre site. It's in the MUL zone. We're proposing new dental offices. They may or may not have tenants as well in that building. We're showing a 10,000 plus or minus square foot footprint. We're working with an architect, but we still haven't solidified a final footprint yet, so this is still conceptual. We expect it to be 2 to 3 story. It could be 2 stories and a basement level. So this is what we're expecting. The site is currently undeveloped. There are no wetlands on the site. Polly and Timothy Nichols will purchase the property, as I said. It's owned by Central Topsham Associates LLC at the moment, and they'll purchase it from them. This does require a conditional use permit application as well. But I will say that there are no residential properties in the vicinity of the site on this particular site. The ordinance requires us to maintain a 20-foot setback as a buffer along Route 196, and we'll do that. And the front will be from off of Village Drive with a single paved access. Site distance is not a problem on this side of the road. Here's a copy of the plan. Couple things I'll point out. There is quite a landscaping, existing landscaping that exists along Village Drive. So we have a 20-foot setback. Most of the landscaping is within that 20-foot setback area. So we've added another 20-foot strip for landscaping and whatnot adjacent to the parking area to provide additional buffering as needed. Again, Village Drive will be the front of the site. The main entrance will be off of that park and off of Village Drive. There'll be 2 levels. We'll come in at a first floor level on the left side, and on the right side will be a basement level that will walk in at 10 feet lower than that. We did have some staff comments with regards to the entrance. They suggested maybe pushing the entrance down a little bit, which we're happy to do, and they suggested adding a sidewalk and possibly a crosswalk across the street. At this point, it's conceptual in nature. We have about 53 spaces on site. And be happy to answer any questions if you might have.
All right. And have you gone through the staff review comments that are in the memo? Anything you want to touch on before?
I haven't seen that,
Okay.
so I'll be happy to go through it after. But I was at the meeting, so I kind of know.
Okay. You guys have any questions? Start things off.
I was curious about the grading. I mean, I know this is conceptual, but so you're saying the parking on the right is lowered 10 feet from the one on the left. So
Yes.
the one on the north side there is gonna be sloping down to meet that.
To match, yeah.
Right.
Now, we suspect, we're gonna be at the tabletop on the left side. That'll be right around existing grade, maybe a foot or 2 above that. And below that, we're hoping to be pretty close to existing grade, minus 10 feet at the end on the right side. Sorry. It seems to fit this site. And then obviously the entrance coming down 10 or 15 feet may drop it a foot, but it's relatively flat coming in from the road.
So the existing slope is pretty close to the 10.
Yeah, we'll maintain what's there pretty much, and then, we'll be on that tabletop. And plus 20 feet, we'll add some buffering type of trees to try to seal the parking from the road.
And with this is a 20-foot buffer from the line.
Yep.
Okay, and the existing fence is in front of this, the blue line.
The fence is right around the property lines. The blue line is roughly where the fence.
And so the
They
majority
cleared everything on the DOT side.
is in front of the fence. And the plan for the vegetation, it's in that buffer to stay.
I didn't hear you.
The vegetation in the
We're
20-foot buffer.
proposing to keep it all intact. The ordinance does give us a 20% relief if we survey the trees in that buffer area. But at this point, we're gonna try to maintain this buffer.
And in the package, it talked a little bit about the potential waiver for both the back line, the CMP, and the sideline.
This lot was part of the Highland Green Plain Commercial Development. So I was hoping that I could get some setback relief along the CMP side and the conservation side. But it sounds like if we sell it, it wouldn't be part of Highland Green, so couldn't take advantage of the planned commercial development language. So we're gonna try to maintain the 20-foot setback as required.
So
And it shows the 20-foot setback is that we're setting the parking lot right on the setback base.
not in this though.
Yeah.
You on? Okay.
That, what you see is a 20-foot setback and then the edge of pavement. On the back, the CMP side.
Up top. You know, that looks smaller than this 20 feet right here.
If it does, then maybe I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, but yeah, I'll check that.
I was just gonna ask how the top, because it's the conservation, you say conservation land, it's the Topsham Bear Association or the Saginaw Agricultural.
The conservation is part of Highland Green Conservation.
This one is?
Yep. So it's intended to remain in buffer. it used to be the Fairgrounds land.
So the intent is to try to keep pretty much all the greenery that's on the 196.
On the 196 side, that within the 20-foot setback, we'll try to maintain as that existing condition.
So when you're on 196, you're gonna see the building or you're not?
Well, there's a 20-foot buffer there. I don't know what trees are there to
Yeah.
save, but, so I suspect you may see some of the building.
And is the suggestion to move the driveway down to have it more correspond on the opposite? The
The
solar
suggestion
farm?
was to line the entrance up with the entrance across the street.
That we talked about on the solar.
Right, that entrance is changing, so.
Where is the entrance for the solar?
The solar, we dealt with CMP, I believe now, and so the proposed entrance we were gonna come in with, we're gonna eliminate that. And we're gonna come in off the maintenance driveway on the other side of the highway.
Excellent.
And then that second entrance that CMP wanted, we don't need to do that anymore. Those will be eliminated and then we'll have a cross driveway cross
Across the
the power
CMP.
line to get to the site.
Perfect.
So we'll be submitting something to that effect. But I will say, we are getting the setback survey. So the Revision Energy has said they really would like to take a couple of the bigger trees along that side. So we are getting the trees surveyed, so we can come in back to you and talk about that as well.
And, I don't know if you have other questions for us. I mean, I think as far as conditional use, I myself, you know, open to that. I mean, you've got the medical
I'm hoping
building
that this-
across the
this
way. It fits
works.
in well.
Works for a conditional use
Yeah.
at this site. This,
Yeah.
yeah, the owners were nervous about that.
Yeah.
So,
So,
yeah,
I mean, between that, the Red Cross, the medical building,
we agree.
it
Yeah.
seems like a good location. And I don't know what power the board has with the setbacks on things like this,
I'm
but
not
I
sure, if
don't,
it's not a planned commercial development, can we? I don't know. I don't think we can.
okay, because the CMP does not seem like in the idea of setbacks, if
Now,
that back
the
line
code-
is, you know, it's not like it's a residence or,
The code does allow us to be, set the pavement 5 feet off the line. So maybe we could push it to 5 feet on that side and give myself a bit more room in the front. If that's okay,
I think we'd be
or it
open
seems
to
okay,
that,
I don't want
as
to.
long as it fits in with the.
Yeah.
What's it able to.
We can always
do
have a
with
fence too, if that was
Yeah.
a problem.
Anything else?
Not sure you need a fence against the CMP corridor.
I didn't hear you.
I said, I'm not sure you need a fence against the CMP.
I don't think so either, and I don't know that you'd see
might
much of it, but you could see something from the road, for sure.
Yeah, the only other thing is we've talked about that 20-foot buffer, for the solar farm. And I think, what we can keep in the buffer's good. I mean, it's one of the goals down there, I think. And, if there aren't that many trees, maybe a few extra trees in there, who knows?
We can just ask
Yeah.
and see how it goes when we get the survey.
All
Are
right,
you going to have enough parking, Chris?
Yes.
Because we don't want to come back in times for more parking.
Yes, otherwise he's not picking this. So, good enough.
all right. Thank you.
Very
Thank
much,
you, Chris.
appreciate it.
Scott, you wanna adjourn to?
Yes,
workshop?
I'd love to. Are you making a motion?
No, well,
I move to adjourn to workshop.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?